always felt like if something's worth doing, it's worth doing well. If I fix something, I'm going to make sure it stays fixed. And if I want to learn something, I'm going to study it until I reach the limits of my ability to understand it. So coming to Christianity later on in life, living the nominal Christian life just wasn't on the cards for me. If God is real, He's the author of life, the creator of all things, and deserving of nothing less than our awe and unswerving devotion. So intentionally choosing to place God on the throne of your heart is something that I think is really, really important. And I think faith for me, it's really just kind of going back to like first principles, going back to like the Creator's instruction manual. Proverbs 9 verse 11, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is insight. For by me your days will be multiplied and years will be added to your life. I think it's really like the best thing to do to say, okay, well, if you designed me and you designed the world and you had a plan for how everything's going to go together, surely the one who created this machine that I'm walking around in, would know how best to operate it. So my journey started about 16 years ago with the birth of my daughter, and that was just an absolutely amazing experience. I remember it's just the miracle of birth. When I saw her face for the first time, it was just, my brain just exploded. It just kind of jellified and fell out of my eyes and my nose. It was just like goo, and it was really quite gross. I'll not share the pictures. It was pretty grim. I just remember at that moment the miracle of life, just thinking, wow, there just is so much more to life than just the material. It also shifted my priorities quite a lot, knowing that this helpless child was my responsibility, and if she was more important than me, and it was just absolutely incredible. And that's what had me start chewing over the big questions of life for the first time. Is there a God? Can we know Him? Is there truth? These kind of things. And that started me on the truth quest that eventually landed me up in the Christian camp. Ask and it will be given to you, seek and you will find, knock and it will be open to you. For everyone who asks receives, and the one who seeks finds, and to the one who knocks it will be opened. It's interesting to me, I thought it was all a bit of a cliche that, those who seek God with an open heart, just following the evidence where it will go. I just kind of assumed that, God just really didn't care about people, and that, you wouldn't find Him. But my experience is very much just kind of following the evidence where it went, and at the end of that road, that's where God was. So in hindsight, as an atheist, I think I was just trying to fill a God-shaped hole in my heart with all of these things of the world, the sex, the drugs, the partying, and all of that. Truly, truly, I say to you, everyone who practices sin is a slave to sin. The slave does not remain in the house forever. The son remains forever. So if the son sets you free, you will be free indeed. So these things were just distractions that would leave me empty. And I think in hindsight, looking back, it was just slavery to sin. So as I work now to turn my back on these things in the world, these kind of sinful things that separate us from God, I find that I've got a lot more time to focus on truly valuable things, like spending time in the Word, trying to get to know God better, and really develop my relationships with my friends and my family, spend time with my children, and really focus on things that delivers deep, deep joy rather than kind of temporary highs. So if there was 3 powerful realizations that I came to since coming to the faith, I think the first one would be that the Bible and the story of Christianity is all about Jesus, and it's nothing about me. Secondly, the Bible is pretty much never talking about physical things. It's always talking about spiritual ones, so like blessings and rewards and things like that. It's almost never saying blessings are for now. It's always in the spiritual realm, in the afterworld. So God's focus is on eternity, and our focus as humans is always on the now, in this kind of world that we're living ourselves in. And I think one of the hardest realizations is that. And the third realization that I got was that God's time scale is just, he trades on eternity. His time scale is like infinite in the past and infinite in the future, and we're like focused on this immediate, like now, tomorrow, and a couple of weeks later. It's like our focus is so short compared to God's. And when he's talking about like really giving us deep joy and blessings, he's talking about for eternity. And you know, when you realize that when God's speaking, he's talking about like this just unfathomably large time scale, it all starts to make sense, doesn't it, when these temporary little things that we have right now kind of get in our way. So I think when we adopt a more eternal mindset rather than a temporal one, we can really start focusing on the things of really deep and significant importance, rather than the shiny keys that the world jangles at us, these materialist, consumerist kind of things. We can really drill down and start living for the Lord in a more powerful way. That's my dog. She's sleeping. I think she's dreaming. 1 minute. Nah, that's just about typical, isn't it? The moment I put a camera on her, she stops doing it. It's like when you take the kids to the doctors when they're poorly, and you get them to the doctors and they're all of a sudden magically well. I hope this video has been a blessing to you. I hope you found something interesting in my story. If you want to see more stories about like where I've come from, because there is just so much to tell, let me know in the comments. Hopefully I'll do some more stuff like this. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, and I will catch you on the next one. Take care. Goodbye.